Southern Africa's finest source of quality engineering components and expertise. BMG.
From Creamer Media in Johannesburg, this is the Real Economy Report. Our top stories this week. Mercedes-Benz launches armoured sedans for 2010. South Africa's Water Affairs Minister seeks to calm water shortage fears. And government warns business on mandatory carbon emissions reductions. With 2010 and the Confederations Cup around the corner, South Africa has become a popular destination for many high-profile people in need of special protection. Mercedes-Benz South Africa says this protection can come in a much more sophisticated form than a bulky bodyguard.
The new E500 and S600 factory-produced protected luxury sedans are part of the Mercedes-Benz Armoured series called MB Guard. These vehicles, manufactured in Germany, have fuel tanks which seal automatically through a chemical reaction if pierced by a bullet. An optional extra is a fire extinguisher that will put out any fire under the car. Another extra is an emergency fresh air system which senses if the air quality deteriorates, say in the event of a chemical attack, and immediately stops the air intake from outside the vehicle. The system releases oxygen, creating overpressure, ensuring no contaminated air filters in from the outside. The vehicles also make use of run-flat tires, which means the car can keep on running even when a tire is damaged by a bullet. The 1.7 million rand E-Class E500 model is more for the private individual and can withstand an attack from any handgun up to a Magnum 44, says Mercedes-Benz Guard distribution head Ulrich Niebauer, visiting from Germany.
Here in the E-Class we are adding approximately 350 kilogram armor plates and glass and armoring glass. And in certain areas we are adding artificial fiber to absorb fragments from projectiles. In the E-Class has approximately 20 kilogram, in the S-Class approximately 80 kilogram. The front window of the S-Class goes up to 125 kilogram.
The added weight and armor on the more luxurious heavyweight S-Class S600 is around 1.8 tons. The car weighs 3.8 tons in total.
The S-Class has a protection which is far above the protection of the E-Class. It is offering resistance against military automatic rifles like the Kalashnikov, AK-47, like the NATO automatic rifle G3 and G36, and like the US rifle M16. Normally we are selling the armored S-Class to governments, to police forces and to very rich private persons, as well as to international groups.
Now, if you're a president and a businessman with a few more enemies than friends, and you have around 6 million rand to spend, then this is the car for you. Irma Venter, Pretoria.
We speak to Water Affairs Minister Lindiwe Hendricks after this commercial break.
Southern Africa's finest source of quality engineering components and expertise. BMG.
The possibility of a water shortage in Gauteng by 2013 is of great concern. Brindavani Naidu spoke to Water Affairs and Forestry Minister Lindiwe Hendricks about this challenge.
If you look in the past 12 months, there's been concerns raised about South Africa is going to run out of water. There's a huge problem because of our water quality. But the quality that we have a problem with is the water quality in the dams, in the rivers, canals, streams, which is as a result of a whole lot of issues. That's why I need to say tap water in South Africa is one of the highest in terms of quality. The problems that we are facing currently are issues of pollution, contamination of our water resources from various areas, one of which is really the aging infrastructure. We are currently now talking to Lesotho to implement phase 2 of the Lesotho Highlands Water Project, which will bring the second tranche of water down to the Vaal River. But Going hand in hand with that, there's theft of water along most of our major rivers. We are aware of it. We intend to implement the plan. We have started, but we intend to implement this plan that will curb water use by June of 2009. So that together we will make sure that we curb illegal theft, we stop water losses in the municipalities, in our homes, the leaks, we stop the leaks. We start the augmentation process, which will be dam construction and a whole lot of other big bulk pipelines. And we get the sectors that are major users to reduce their own consumption. So our planning indicates that we won't run out.
There is no question that current shortages relating to energy and other infrastructure have heightened the level of anxiety in the country. As debates on the possible water shortage scenarios continue, what is certain is that South Africa has a lot of work ahead if it is to ensure its water resources are properly managed for growth. Brindavani Naidu, Creamer Media Television, Johannesburg.
Southern Africa's finest source of quality engineering components and expertise. BMG.
Environmental Affairs and Tourism Minister Martinus van Schalkwyk has issued a firm warning to business and industry on making voluntary carbon emissions reductions. Chanel Pringle reports.
Time will soon run out for companies to choose whether or not they want to monitor and report on their carbon emissions reductions. Government will develop and implement systems to make this mandatory within the next year or two, says van Schalkwyk.
A time will arrive where we are going to set certain objectives to be achieved. So the sooner business gets themselves ready for that, the better. It will be easier to do it now, it will be much cheaper. The longer they wait, the more difficult, the more expensive it will become.
He adds that companies that don't comply could face penalties in future. The government and industry are holding ongoing discussions on this matter. However, the minister is confident of government's ability to enforce future compliance with its planned regulatory, fiscal and legislative climate change policy.
We will have certain responsibilities, not only nationally, but also internationally. And South Africa introduced the concept of measurable, reportable, verifiable. And why we did that is because we believe there must be integrity in the system. We've seen many undertakings before by developed and developing countries, never implemented. And we will never be able to have a successful global agreement if there's no integrity in the system. And South Africa is an integral part, and we want to participate on the basis of integrity.
And now for a sneak preview of this week's Engineering News magazine. Read about an Eastern Cape pilot project where marine algae will be used to convert carbon dioxide into biofuels and other products. We report that South Africa's capital equipment sector is following the sharply weakening passenger car and truck markets. And read how South Africa is slowly moving towards formulating a country policy on climate change. And in Mining Weekly this week, read how the South African diamond industry is seeking ways to mitigate the economic downturn. We report that chrome miner Samancor Chrome is preparing to retrench workers with 900 jobs at risk. And read how cash-strapped Pamodzi Gold criticizes Aflease for refusing to contribute to its pumping costs. That's Creamer Media's Real Economy Report. Join us again next week for more news and insights into South Africa's real economy.
Engineering news, not just for engineers.